Let's do it.
Three,
All right. Three,
two,
2, 1.
1, go!
Happy New Year!
Happy New Year.
It's good to hear you, Sammy. How are you doing?
I'm doing
Tell
fine.
me.
How are you?
Fine. Just fine. All right. That's pretty sad. I'm doing really good.
Who are you, Andre?
Of
For the listeners.
Hey everyone, I'm Andre. I'm a UX designer working at IBM Design in Austin, Texas. I'm also a digital media and design lead at Home Motorsport, which is a racing team where my brother races in. So we do a lot of stuff to promote him and his racing around the world. So it's pretty cool. Let's see what's going to happen next year. We want to see him again in the World Touring Car Championship. So there's going to be a lot of work, a lot of many presentations which we're going to have to do to convince the sponsors to give us the sponsorship. What
Great.
about you, Sammy?
So I'm the other host. I'm Sammy Schuckert. I'm also a user experience designer for IBM, but in Germany. And yeah, on the side, I work with two other guys on a small project called Lito, which is a remote team voice collaboration web app.
So what's the
What's
topic today, Sammy?
Yeah. So I think we want to talk about what are the big user experience trends 2019.
Right? Because we are such an expert that we can talk about it, right?
I think so. At least our job title says
Okay.
that.
So what you think is like the one of the most important things?
So I generally think there are three big things that we will see in regards to user experience in 2019. And the first one is that software is getting even more and more important since more and more industries shift their focus from being product companies to software, being software companies, becoming software companies. And then also our design tools are evolving with the technology together. Things like closing the gap between development and design, and also bringing in new technologies for us as designers to prototype with and really have early um, concepts to test with. And then the third one is design thinking matures. So really the next year will be the year when design thinking finally has made its move into almost every organization, every industry, and we can see a lot of change going on with this kind of methodology and mindset in mind.
Sounds like we have a bright future ahead, right?
Yes.
That's good. Yeah, cool. So let's start with the first one. Like the software is getting more and more important. And guess what? In 2019, everybody wants to do everything digital again, right? It's nothing really new. But what is interesting is what I noticed last couple of months is that even companies which were not really focusing on digital design so much, and they're more like a hardware company, are really going into the software. As an example, I saw a lot of traction in companies such as Porsche. So Porsche invested in a company called Porsche Digital to basically work on the products outside of the car. It's like, yes, the main product of Porsche is the car, but I realized there is so much more potential outside of the car. So they realized that the hardware is sort of like done. Like, the car has wheels, everything is basically organized, they have a lot of history, everything was created. You're just going to swap it with an electric engine. But how will you provide the extra value, if all the
Mm-hmm.
cars in future will be sort of self-driving cars? And so they found out that it's all about the services around the car. And those will be facilitated by like mobile devices or, like Apple Watch and stuff like that. So I think that's like a really big thing.
Yeah.
Um, what I found really interesting is that Porsche is thinking about themselves not being like a self-driving company with self-driving cars. That's what I mean in future. Their thinking is that if you're gonna have a Porsche in the future, you're gonna be able to drive it, which is way different from everything that we see around. So I think that's really interesting, and there is so much more potential for UX design in this area.
Yeah, I can see
Yeah.
the same trend in I know about some basically smart home startups that are now supported by car companies. So they are looking for the whole experience around the car, like controlling your home with the car, like having a like a whole ecosystem around the experience of mobility. And I think that's really interesting, and we'll see a lot more of that in 2019.
Right. And that's actually really interesting that you write up. Actually, Porsche invested into a digital startup of our friend Heiko, Home IX. And so basically, they're cooperating together to figure out the future of this. So there's a lot of stuff happening.
Yeah, yeah, I totally see that trend too. So the next trend we have on our topic on our list here was that design tools are evolving with the technology. And one thing that I can see there is that more and more tools we will see in 2019 will probably close the gap between development and design that's currently still big, because design is still evolving from that print design craft to the digital craft, and a lot of things that we are used to as designers will go away. Like probably the artboard will go away because people don't experience your product as a artboard. And you can see that with design tools like Framer IX. They basically can, all the components from Framer X, not IX, Framer X, you can export as React components. So really usable things for developers, and I think we will see more and more of that in 2019. And yeah, do you see any of these trends, Andre, in the design tools that are evolving?
I think the area where we're gonna need a lot of, let's say, improvements is about prototyping for voice assistants. So as we saw, Adobe XD released, this year their first version of how will you prototype for voice assistants. But there is so much more. I know it's a good start they started, but like the way how you create voice assistants, it's similar to traditional screens where you're basically creating artboards with with the UI and UX in them. But with voice, you're mostly creating like dialogue flows and stuff like that. So I think this is what we're gonna need in the applications. So we can then later easily plug it into some dev tools. So our engineering teams can just take it over. It's not just, hey, this is a nice diagram and you have to now type it all in. So that doesn't make really sense. And I think in 2019, we're going to see a lot of investment into voice assistants, especially because in the US at the moment, before the Christmas, you are able to get Google Home for $1, and it's not really limited, so you might be getting like 5 Google Homes. People are nuts. They are like they are getting a lot of these Google Homes. So I think these assistants are sort of the voice assistants are penetrating the home. So I think we're gonna see a lot more in this area. Even though still today they're not so clever. We all know that, but they will get clever with time.
Yeah. Really
Yep.
can see that in 2019 that a lot of improvement will be done in voice interfaces, conversational interfaces. As I think last year or the year before, 2017, was really about chatbots, and it got a bit quiet this year around all of that technology, and I think they all will have a comeback in terms of conversational interfaces in next year. Yeah, I can see that. So
When you say word chatbot, people are like, "What the heck?" No.
Yeah.
But when you say like assistant, everybody's like, "Eh." It's actually the same thing, but just there's a different interaction with it.
yeah.
Yeah.
So the next thing that we have on our list is that design thinking matured. So one of the big trends I can see in the user experience area for 2019 is that design thinking finally made its way into almost every industry, every organization, thanks to companies like IBM, who brought up their own framework, like the enterprise design thinking, which helps really, really big organizations, but also smaller ones with getting alignment, getting ideas out, like focusing on the user, on their needs. And there's one trend that I would like to point out in 2019 especially, and this is design sprints, which is a method that brings in different angles from different industries. So, like the startup scene, they have this lean startup approach, which is all about build, measure, learn. And design thinking is also all about like understanding the problem, understanding your users' needs, then coming up with a solution, prototyping it, testing it, reflecting on that again. And design sprints are a great way to get a lot of progress in this short period of time from like 5 to 4 days, where you basically make all those things you are already doing in your normal design thinking processes or lean startup processes a really fast moving habit. So you learn to understand that rapid prototyping and user testing doesn't acquire a lot of time, and that you can do a lot of things really early in the process to better understand your users. And that's one trend I see, or that I think we will see in 2019 even develop further. So as design thinking finally matures.
Right. And I agree with that. And to that, I would add another thing. I'm seeing a lot of investment into universities. So like IBM now,
Yeah.
enables to universities to use their design thinking for the students, like to actually use the IBM design framework for the projects there. And also, I think design sprints should get there at some point, because if you have the experience out of university, using design thinking or design sprints, then you're really ready to work for such big companies we are working for.
Yeah, totally. Yeah, design sprints are a way, like design sprints work best if your company already has established a design thinking mindset. So that's really the key. Design thinking is the core key. This understanding of your users' needs, focus on the user, understand their needs, rapid iteration. This kind of mindset is key to then do these concepts like design sprints.
Yep, totally agree with that.
Great.
Good
Awesome.
stuff.
Yeah. So let's
Uh,
see if at the end of 2020 our outlook still is valid or not.
Wait, at the end of 2020, that's gonna be 2 years
Oh
from
no,
now, I
yeah, in
think,
the end of
almost.
2019. Yeah, you're right. Yeah.
Well, let's see. Yeah. I think there is much more which is gonna be happening, but these are just our ideas. This is what we see around. We are not analysts by anything, just to be telling you the whole big picture for 2019. But this is actually what we see in our daily work, so we wanted to share with you guys.
Yeah, I think it's helpful. And if you have any other ideas on what you think will be the big user experience design trends in 2019, let us know. Reach out on social media or engage with us. You can write us an email at sidebyside at semisugar.de. Yeah, or any social media platform, just direct message us.
That works. Awesome.
Perfect. And I think that was a
Well,
perfect segue
yeah.
into where people can find you, Andre, on the internet too.
Just look me up on Instagram. ONDREJHOMOLA. What about you, Sammy?
So you can find me also on all the social media platforms with the handle SAMMYSCHUCKERT. So my first name and then my last name.
It's not made up, right?
Nope.
All right, just kidding. Cool. No, I think it's now a good time. Actually, thanks, Sammy, for doing this podcast this year. This was good. I really enjoyed that. So it's a really good experience. And then again, I want to thank everyone for listening. You guys have been a great audience, and we got a lot of feedback from you guys. So keep listening, and we're gonna do more of these.
Yeah. Thank you. Thanks for everyone who listened this year to the podcast. We are so far 5 episodes in, and we are looking forward to 2019 to even get to more episodes throughout the year than this year. And you are all making the difference with all your minutes you're giving us. And we really appreciate your feedback. And if you could help us with getting or spread the word about this podcast, if you like it, that would really make our day and would really end this year for us with a lot of optimism for next year.
You sound kind of sad at the end. All right, optimism.
Yeah,
Yeah. Tough
maybe
day,
we
right?
can
I have
cut
a
that
morning
back.
in US. I have more. I have morning here, and you have evening, so it's different
Hmm.
mode, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, cool.
And I
All right,
always
thank you,
get
Sammy.
this kind
Yeah.
of audiobook voice when I'm on the
Uh huh.
podcast,
Uh huh.
which sounds kind of
All
a
right.
bit sad, but
All right.
also sexy.
Oh, for your girlfriend, right? All right. I guess I'll just stop recording, right?
Okay. See you 2019, everybody.
Bye.
Bye.
All
All
right.
right.
Stopping. No.